Down to Camborne, the detective retired, and we've had to appoint a new detective down to Camborne. Well, they've had 3 boys applied for the job. One of them was Denzil. He said to the first boy, to be a detective in Camborne, you've got to be very, very observant. Any distinguishing features on a person's face, you've got to see, recognize. You could have to give evidence in court. He said, I'm going to show you a picture, and you tell me what you notice. Are you ready? There you go. He said, you got 2 seconds. Right. He said, tell me about that face. He said, there's a man, and he only got one eye. He said, you'd only see one eye, you twat, because he's side on. You twat, his other eye is behind his hooter. Piss off, he said, well, in come the next one. He said, any distinguishing features on this face you got to see, recognize. You could have to give evidence in court. Are you ready? And he said, are you ready? You got 2 seconds to observe what you can. There you go. He said, right. He said, well, tell me about it. He said, there's a man and he only got one ear. He said, you'd only see one ear, you woman's privates. But he didn't say that, but you know. Because he said he's side on, and you'd only see... Well, in come Denzil. He said, any distinguishing feature you must see and recognize. You got 2 seconds to observe what you can. He said, tell me what you notice about this face. Are you ready? Right, you got 2 seconds. Right, he said, tell me about that face. Denzil said, there's a man, and he's wearing contact lenses. Is he be damned? Big list of distinguishing features, number 89, wearing contact lenses. He said, that's bloody brilliant. To observe that in such a short space of time, he said, you could make a brilliant detective. And he said, how could you decipher in such a short space of time that man is wearing contact lenses? He said, well, with only one ear, he couldn't wear glasses. She said, I got home late. She's waiting for me, and she is nasty. And she's waiting on the doorstep with a broom. And I think I said the wrong thing. Because I said, are you late finishing your cleaning, or are you going for a flight? The police stopped me. Any police in? They stopped me 3 o'clock this morning, and I think when the police go to that school, they learn to look like that, don't they? You got mirrors, and every time they go. They're ugly, but I met one in Wales. When we had that little fall of snow, and it was late, we was in a place called Landrindod, Wales, and in the national papers, they said, in Landrindod, Wales, there's 4 women to every man. And when I got up and seen the women, I could see why the men left. Right back. But the police stopped me. He said, mate, I think we've had a little fall of snow. You're driving too fast for the conditions. I said, officer, I'm totally in control of my vehicle. And I said, a 4-wheel drive. And I said, I'll be okay. He said, supposing you go over the next mountain and you meet Mr. Fogg. I said, well, Mr. Officer, I said, if I meet Mr. Fogg, I should put Mr. Foot on Mr. Brake, and I should slow down Mr. Car. He said, I said, mist and fog, you twat, man. He said, where are you going 3 o'clock in the morning? I said, I'm going to a lecture. He said, you're not going to a lecture 3 o'clock in the morning? I said, sometimes my wife waits up till 4 o'clock. I was reading in my book that John Wayne and Raquel Welch was talking. And she said, John Wayne, she said, I'm fed up with everybody telling me how tough you are. No matter where you go, everybody says that John Wayne, he is tough. They don't come any tougher than John Wayne. And she said, I'm fed up here now, bloody tough you are. She said, well, you think you're bloody tough, John Wayne. You think you watch this. And she took a walnut. And I don't have to tell you how tough a walnut is. One of the toughest nuts ever. And she put the walnut between her tits, a bloody walnut. She said, right, watch this if you think you're tough, John. And when you went, ha! And she smashed this walnut in millions of pieces. And you know that bastard, he never looked up. She said, well, you don't think that's tough? Right, she said, if you don't think that's tough, you ignorant bastard, you watch this. And she slid her knickers down, and she took a Brazil nut. Now that is the toughest nut ever. And she put the Brazil nut between the creases of her ass. A Brazil nut? We aren't pissing around, a Brazil nut, and you know how tough they are. And she turned around, she said, that's not what you think it is, it's a Brazil nut. And she said, you think you're bloody tough? You watch, that's a pissing Brazil nut. She went, yabba, a bloody Brazil nut. And she smashed this Brazil nut in millions of pieces. And you know that bloody John Wayne, he never even looked up. He just went straight on, poking the fire with his prick. Now, I brought some condoms home, and I said to my wife, I bought some condoms. They're the taste of all different things. And I said, come on, we'll try one of them. They're lovely tastes, and they're all sorts of different tastes, you know. And she said, come and try them. Which is, I like that, cheese and onion. I said, I haven't put one on yet. But I rung the police last Wednesday. I said, you better get here. Somebody's breaking into my garden shed. And he said, sorry, mate, there's nobody available. I said, well, bollocks. He's stealing me lawnmower. He got me lawnmower in his hand. You've got to come and arrest him. He said, all right, mate, can't help you. Nobody available. Well, bollocks. I left him go 2 minutes. I rung him back. I said, you know that boy that's stealing my lawnmower? You won't have to bother to come now, because he won't break in anybody else's shot, because I've shot the twat. I've shot him on the lawn, first barrel, one of my finest shots. Within 2 minutes, I had 2 helicopters, 14 cars. They closed the street off, and the police officer said, you're a bloody liar, you told me you shot him. I said, you told me there's nobody available. But last night, we have Siamese twins come in the bar, and last night they always get on so well, but they gotta get on well, because they're joined, aren't they? Poor little, they're joined. They're a lovely pair of kids, they're lovely, they're about 22 now, both of them the same age. But last night they fell out, and I've never known them to fall out all the years of been coming, and I said, you two have fell out. He said, bollocks, Jim, I don't want to know the bastard, you've got much choice, really. I said, why have you fallen out? Well, he said, he just told me you've turned queer and we share the same arsehole. Isn't that awful hard luck, Lawnmower? That very number.